remember, I'll be the one you won't forget.
Oh, friends. Welcome. Emergency show, emergency times, emergency communiques. Welcome, YouTube podcast. We have a new Bob Woodward book coming out. What's the Thanos line? Criticize it, run from it, but no matter what, it comes for you. That's effectively what a Bob Woodward book is to an American president. Like, this is just something that they're going to have to deal with, and it is particularly not great for Trump because he doesn't have a lot of ride or dies. He doesn't have a phalanx of people that have been with him for 1,000,000 years. There we go. Dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives all the same. So let's go ahead and just enough. Let's dispense with this fiction and just go right to the heat here. Oh, by the way, we are confirming possibly confirming a new Supreme Court justice. So that's also happening. Not to say that it is not as big a story, but this is the one that has lit the internet on fire. We will get into all of your questions and thoughts about what this means, what this doesn't mean in a second. But let's go ahead and go down to this story. Although, by the way, here is also, I have not heard this. This is the audio of Donald Trump talking to Bob Woodward about being involved in the book. Apparently, the book had already been sent to the publishers at the point that the president said he wanted to be a part of it. So here we go. This is that conversation.
How are you? How you doing? Okay?
Real well. I'm turning on my tape recorder.
Oh, that's
with
okay.
Your permission.
That's okay. I don't mind.
I'm sorry we missed the opportunity to talk for the book.
Well, I just spoke with Kellyanne, and she asked me if I got a call. I never got a call. I never got a message. Who did you ask about speaking to me?
Well, about 6 people.
Well, they don't tell me.
Senator. I talked to Kellyanne about it 2.5 months ago. She came for lunch.
Well, it's too bad. Of course, you and I had a conversation, a couple of years ago, and so that, I think, got you there a little bit. And we had a conversation many years ago, if you remember, in Trump Tower.
I did.
That has to be 20 years ago. And you were thinking about doing a book about me then, which is interesting. Who knew it would have been on this subject, right?
Yeah,
that was not in the cards at that time.
That's right. Well, I'm sorry. I
still remember that.
I spent a lot of time on this, talked to lots of people.
Okay, I don't care about that. That's a very congenial conversation and whatever. Okay, here we go. This is what we do want to hear. So J.K. Grammer, who has listened, says, he acts like, well, since I didn't talk to you about it, anything in the book is unfair. That's kind of his thing. We'll see. We'll see. We will see how hard he pushes back on it going forward. So here we go. The lead to a Philip Rucker, Robert Costa book report. Literally, this is a book report. You have two of the best political reporters that every once in a while, and you can't blame them, they have to write a book report. Please, Philip Rucker and Robert Costa, read this book and then explain what you think about it. If it were any more of a book report, it would end with in summation, like I ended all my book reports with. Here we go. John Dowd was convinced that President Trump would commit perjury if he talked to Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III. So, on January 27th, the president's then personal attorney staged a practice session to make this point. In the White House residence, Dowd peppered Trump with questions about Russia, provoking stumbles, contradictions, and lies until the president eventually lost his cool. This thing's a goddamn hoax. Trump erupted at the start of a 30-minute rant that finished with him saying, "I don't really want to testify." The dramatic and previously untold scene is recounted in Fear, a forthcoming book by Bob Woodward that paints a harrowing portrait of the Trump presidency based on in-depth interviews with administration officials and other principals. Woodward writes that his book is drawn from hundreds of hours of interviews with first-hand participants and witnesses that were conducted on deep background, meaning the information could be used, but he would not reveal who provided it. His account is also drawn from meetings, notes, personal diaries, and government documents. Okay, so let's just understand that, yes, Bob Woodward is using a lot of... All right, so how many of you guys would know right offhand what a deep background is? This is also... God, what's the other phrase for it? Not for attribution or... like, just... fuck. There's another, like, informational only thing. It's not a deep backfield. All right. So deep background is basically, I go and talk to, I'm going to just use this person as an example, right? These bits are for attribution. Thank you, mashed potatoes. If I talk to Rand Paul and I ask him about the health care bill, he's going to tell me on the record, this is a bad bill. This is going to cripple the American public. I could then probably get him off the record to say, you want to know what? It's probably going to pass. And, okay. So I can probably say an anonymous source within the Republican senatorial leadership expects the bill to pass anyway, right? And then if it's deep background, meaning I can say, all right, so nothing of this gets out, right? Unless you're specifically telling me that you want it to get out. For real, what's going on? And he can say, all right, well, this person's going to vote for it. This person's going to vote for it. This person's over a barrel because he really wants this other farm subsidy thing. So when you really do the math, that's why it's going to pass. But he's not going to throw anybody under the bus. And a lot of times what that's good for as a reporter is you then take that information and go to the dude who's on the fence because of the farm subsidy and say, hey, what's the deal with you and this farm subsidy on the record? So that's where kind of the circle of journalism tends to work on a very elementary level. But here we go. These are the money quotes. The money quotes here. And they come from the current Chief of Staff, John Kelly. And I know I'm going to know where to find it because I can just search for everyone's favorite 90s band, Crazy Town. White House Chief of Staff John F. Kelly frequently lost his temper and told colleagues that he thought the president was unhinged, Woodward writes. In one small group meeting, Kelly said of Trump, he's an idiot. It's pointless to try to convince him of anything. He's gone off the rails. We're in Crazy Town. I don't even know why any of us are here. This is the worst job I've ever had. Oh, my God. This is the worst job I've ever been in. Shout out to SCU. SCU. Let's remind everybody that in Fire and Fury, a lot of which had on the record Steve Bannon quotes in, he went from trusted advisor outside of the information or outside of the White House to sloppy Steve in the blink of an eye. Will John Kelly have the chief of staff job by the end of the week? Give me your predictions right now. Right now. Will John Kelly have his job by the end of the week? I want to see what you guys are saying right now in the chat. If you are listening to this or watching this, I think I'm going to embed this in the newsletter. Haven't done this before. We're going to embed this in the newsletter. So if you're doing that, then email me. If you're on YouTube, then write it down below. I want to use all this information on the PX3 show, considering whether or not he has a job by tomorrow when I do that podcast. So we're seeing here in the chat room that, you know, Reverend Puck says that Trump's afraid of Kelly. That's why he doesn't want him out. Like, this is the shit that people get fired for. Everything else, there's all the shit. I think we'd heard a lot of this stuff before of him making fun of people, him making fun of Jeff Sessions. Here's a great Trump quote. This guy is mentally retarded. He's this dumb Southerner. He couldn't even be a one-person country lawyer down in Alabama. And then just when you thought we were done talking about Trump and McCain, here's some more Trump and McCain shit. At dinner with Mattis and General Joseph F. Dunford Jr., the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, among others, Trump lashed out at vocal critic Senator John McCain and falsely suggested that the former Navy pilot had been a coward for taking an early release from a POW camp in Vietnam because of his father's military rank, leaving others behind. Mattis swiftly corrected his boss. "No, Mr. President, I think you got it reversed." The defense secretary explained that McCain, who died August 25th, although this sentence is kind of misleading, that they might have been having this conversation after he died, but it was almost assuredly before, had in fact turned down an early release and was brutally tortured during his 5 years at the Hanoi Hilton. "Oh, okay," Trump replied. I just love that. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I almost really just want to do a sticker. Or I want to do a t-shirt that's just, "Oh, okay. Donald Trump," as quoted in the Bob Woodward book. I want to do the Michael Scott in The Office thing. The you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky, and then that's in quotes, and then the quote attribution to that is Michael Scott. I want to do that for me. I want to do, "Oh, okay. Donald Trump to Bob Woodward," quote, Justin Robert Young. That one's pretty good. And then what he called, let's see, what was the other? Few in Trump's orbit were protected from the president's insults. He often mocked former National Defense Advisor H.R. McMaster behind his back, puffing up his chest and exaggerating his breathing as he impersonated the retired Army general. And one said, "McMaster dresses in cheap suits like a beer salesman." I mean, I guess he's in hospitality, so he knows what a beer salesman looks like. I've never thought about that as an insult. Look at the fucking beer salesman over there. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I went live hoping that we would get some kind of live tweet. But so far, Trump Watch is not bearing much fruit. The last tweet that he has is at the time of this recording 2 hours ago. NBC Fake News, which is under intense scrutiny for their killing of the Harvey Weinstein story, is now fumbling around making excuses for their probably highly unethical conduct. "I have long criticized NBC and their journalistic standards, worse even than CNN. Look at their license? Question mark." He has a call to action. Smash that subscribe button, ring that bell. Yeah, and by the way, looking at the regional licenses for NBC affiliates is probably a fruitless gesture, but it'll get everybody all riled up. He already hates Jeff Sessions. He's like shitting on Jeff Sessions on the daily here. But I think we might wrap up a little bit. We might wrap up here with the Bob Woodward thing. Let me give you guys the 500-foot view, and then we'll wrap up. How about that? Bob Woodward is somebody that even if you leave Watergate off his resume, is somebody that needs to be respected as the chronicler of insider White House opportunity. If there is an element to Bob Woodward for which I think can be legitimately criticized, it is for those that are upset about the permanent Washington class, not the people that come in and then leave, but rather the people that live there forever, commonly referred to as the swamp, right? Bob Woodward is that dude. He is in that space. That's his thing. That's it, and that's all. Like, they're for whatever you want to think about him, he is somebody that knows everybody in Washington because he is a permanent fixture in Washington. That being said, that dude has receipts. This is not Fire and Fury. This is not Omarosa's book. This is not even a book from a reporter that just traveled with everybody. Bob Woodward knows motherfucking everybody. There is no story about Bob Woodward sitting down with you that isn't a terrifying, he's going to reveal your pooping habits to you when you have not thought so much about them. So I don't doubt a lot of what is in here. Not to mention the fact that a lot of what is in here is on the record. So if John Kelly's got a problem with that quote, he can go right to his lawyer and say, I am suing Bob Woodward, because what that is textbook libel. That is a falsely attributed quote. I don't think he's probably going to do it. Now, will John Kelly walk out in front of a camera between now and Friday and say the White House is one of the most intense crucibles that I have ever been a part of? Working for it has been my lifelong or my life's pleasure. I am making America great again. I've said things in frustration, as has the president, but this is what real leadership looks like moving on. Maybe. If he says that, I'm going to guess he's going to keep his job. If he doesn't, who knows? There is a chance that Trump just lets this go. It's the least entertaining chance, but there's a chance. Penny JW, I wonder how many libel lawsuits Woodward has won. I'd be curious to know how many times he's been sued for libel. I wouldn't suspect it's a lot, but who knows? Any journalist who's at a certain level. Remember, getting sued for libel is not all that big of a deal. You can file a lawsuit for anything. About the chief of staff position, P. Lizzle says nobody wants that job. False. There is one person on earth who desperately wishes it was appropriate for him to have the chief of staff job. One person. I wonder if anybody can name him. One person who believes that he can do a better job being Donald Trump's chief of staff than literally anybody else. Cheesy Bob got it. Donald J. Trump. That's that dude. He's like, I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't need a chief of staff. I'm the one who should be handling everything. The only thing a chief of staff seems to be good at doing is keeping me from doing my job effectively. I should be my own chief of staff. I don't need all this, Barack Obama decision fatigue shit. American snipers. None of the Avengers died under Obama's administration. It's a fair point. All right. That'll be it. Just a real quick emergency session of the Bob Woodward story. I will be reconvening the Campaign Chaos Book Club. So we will be doing a book report on this book. As soon as it comes out, I will be getting it. I'll be pausing my 1960 reading so I can read this. And there we go. All right. I will see you guys on the VODs a little later. I'm going to keep streaming here. Go ahead and find us, twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. See you guys.
Face down, booty up, timber. That's the way we like the world. Timber. I'm sicker than an oil spill. She say she won't, but I bet she will. Timber. Swing your body round and round.